For you today. And again, we don't have any categories for entry, so we're always very surprised and pleasantly surprised of the films we do get that our judges get to look at. And so, a number of the filmmakers here, and we have Margie Beegle, actor. Margie, that's you. Rat Pack Rat. So I'm going to start off, and I'm going to ask the filmmakers to tell us. We'll go down the road here. I'll ask the filmmakers to tell us how they came up, what was the germ of the idea for your short film? So, Brandon.
Well, the idea...
Brandon's film was the first music video of all things made cut out of paper.
The inspiration and the idea, 100%.
Okay.
Oh, no problem. Came from the songwriters themselves, Bill and Ruth Carter. They wrote this amazing song about someone in their lives, a dear friend of theirs who, in the media was known as part of the West Memphis Three, Damien Eccles, and the song was a present to Damien Eccles. And it was such a beautiful, incredible song that my inspiration and Pat's inspiration for it was really just not to mess up this amazing song. So.
And that's your specialty. I mean, it's a very intricate piece, and so.
Yeah, and Pat's friends with Bill Carter, and he connected the dots. That the name of the song is called "Anything Made of Paper." So he said, "Hey man, what do you think about doing a video made just out of paper? I know that's what you do." I was like, "Oh, okay, sure." There you go.
Excellent. It's a wonderful piece. Yes. Zach's film. Zach's is The Astronaut Secret, a story I certainly didn't know.
The Astronaut Secret actually came from my dad. I don't know if you noticed, but there's a shared last name in the film. The doctor that diagnosed Rich is my dad, and so I've known about Rich having Parkinson's for quite a while, just given that he had a picture of an astronaut next to his desk for quite a long time, and realized around 2010 that he had not shared this secret for his entire time at NASA and for the last 17 years. And I thought, this is such a great story of somebody getting diagnosed with Parkinson's and overcoming that diagnosis, and at least rising to the occasion and not letting the diagnosis make them hide away, which happens with a lot of people. So I thought it was a great story, very inspirational. He's an inspirational guy, and everybody loves astronauts. So yeah, I decided to go after it.
Excellent. In the film, I think the son says he wants his dad to be known for the rock star astronaut he is, and astronauts around here especially are definitely rock stars.
For sure, yeah, and he's an astronaut everywhere he goes. I mean, after a while, he became just Rich to me. But when we go to screenings, everybody that shakes his hand, they're like, "Oh, I'm never going to wash his hand. He went to space." So everybody's there's still that feeling when he goes places that he is kind of a rock star, even without the whole Parkinson's thing. He's just an astronaut. But then an astronaut that went to space with Parkinson's disease, it just adds a whole other element, which makes him a hero, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Okay. Jarrod? So Jarrod's was the Trouble with Ray, the last one we saw on the end there. There you go.
Thank you. Thank you for coming out today. I think the kernel for our story is pretty obvious. We met Ray, and Margie's friends with Ray as well. He's a pretty charming fellow, and he had some very remarkable stories, and a lot of his stories about the gay civil rights movement in Houston and nationally hadn't really been recorded, so we felt it was important, and also he's charming, and then Comcast approached us to make a tiny little video of his stories, and that's how it started. So.
And we have Margie Beegle with us.
Let me just speak about Ray Hill first.
Okay, sure.
I'm very disappointed he's not here today, but he would have completely dominated this discussion because he is charming. I've known him for 20 years, and I can listen to his stories all the time. So I was asked to do this film because Todd had seen me in another film. And I guess he needed some sort of old lady, crazy old lady. And when I read the script, I was a little hesitant, and I didn't show it to my husband, but my daughter gave me the okay, so that was what I did. And it was a lot of fun to make, and Todd, and nobody died in the movie. That was said, nobody died, that is, the guy was not really sick. He's an HBO comedian, so.
Yeah, there's the little thing at the end of the film.
About the
that
memory.
but that's entirely fake. So, yes, this is definitely probably one of the darkest comedies, I guess you could say, that I've seen.
Well, I just have to say my aunt, who's 92, saw it on YouTube the other day. She called, she said, was that really Sammy Davis Jr.?
Gotcha. Well, I can ask a question. We'll come back this way. Margie, this film, as Rat Pack Rat, is actually available online. So if anyone wants to, if you want to scar your friends for life as well, you can Google it, and it is available on Vimeo and YouTube as well. And so you can do that. But it's played at a lot of festivals. So which other ones have you gone to?
Austin. I went to South by Southwest. And believe me, it showed in a group of movies that were called midnight movies. They were impossible to watch. This was the nicest film by far in that group. But the filmmakers were so nice. I would never believe they could make anything like that. But so I think that's the only. Oh, I went to Austin. They showed it again in Austin at the Marquesa a couple months ago when I went there. And did a Q&A there too, so.
That's awesome. Well, before we came in here, Margie, I think you said this is probably, you said it's probably one of the short films that's rated, what'd you say?
Well, I'm kind of X. Like one of my friends said to me, kind of a friend and acquaintance, she said, because it's available on YouTube, I saw your pornographic movie the other night.
Margie, unfortunately, this is probably rated R these days. I'm sorry. For sure. But it's definitely one of the few rated R films, or the only rated R short film, I guess you could say, that's been in our showcase. But it's wonderfully done and wonderfully acted. So,
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Back to Jarrod. Jarrod, you guys, if you could talk just a little bit more about Ray Hill, because there's many facets to him, and the things that he's done as a iconic Houston activist. And so if you could talk a little bit more about him, and then how long it took you to make the project, and that type of thing.
Sure. Well, Ray's a legend, obviously. People tend to either really love him or really hate him, don't you find, Margie? No. Well, they have very strong feelings about him. Ray has been a convict. He actually got himself out of a life sentence in prison. He has truly also spent many hours behind bars. One of the many things I admire about Ray is he's the guy who's willing to look like a jerk when nobody else is willing to. If it means moving things forward. And I appreciate that very much. I think not only does it take courage, but it takes a commitment to your fellow man to do that. The other thing that I find fascinating is that he is from Houston, or the Houston area, and the things that he's done and his motion have made an impact nationally, not just in gay rights and civil rights in general. He actually was arrested here in Houston, defending someone else who was being arrested. And he was arrested for, according to the officer, impeding an arrest. All he was doing was calling the officer really terrible things, actually. But as a result of that case called Hill versus Houston went all the way to the Supreme Court, and Ray won against the city of Houston. And he was really essentially pressing our rights when it comes to dealing with police and dealing with arrests, which is particularly timely these days, I think. So that's one of many cases. In many ways, he's challenged rights for all of us.
Now, the director of this film, you produced the film.
Yes.
The director, Travis Johns, who's from Houston, has been in our showcase before. And so, but what I wanted to ask you was about the production of it. How long you guys are making a feature of this short?
We are, and we're just at the very beginning of that process. But this took us about 5 months to make, start to finish. 24. It's 23 minutes. obviously the feature will take a little bit longer. No, we're very excited. I'm sorry Travis and Ray couldn't be here today. Travis is in New York, and Ray's actually speaking to a veterans group at a prison today. He had a previous commitment, so. But he'll be with us Wednesday night if anybody cares to return, so.
Oh, excellent. He'll be here Wednesday night. Fantastic.
As will Travis, so.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Jarrod. Thank you. Okay. Zach, this story goes way back, but tell us about the production of it, and it's coming up in other festivals coming up. And
Yeah, we've screened at a couple festivals already. We're screening at Doc NYC on Tuesday, so we'll be out Tuesday and Thursday, so we'll be out there for that.
you're flying back here in between to come to our screening.
Sorry, I know. And the film took a long time. It took about 3 years to make. I didn't want to see a lot unfold. I wanted to, I wanted to go to the final shuttle launch with Ray. So that was really, or with Rich. Got me. I wanted to go to the final shuttle launch with Rich. So that was actually the first thing that we fundraised for, was to get the funds to go to the final shuttle launch, to film with Rich, seeing that final launch, knowing that in a couple weeks he would be retiring from Boeing, which is where he spent 17 years after leaving the shuttle program. So that was the first thing that we did. So we went out there, we filmed that, and then it was just kind of a matter of checking in with Rich every once in a while and getting more of that story, and then also rifling through tons and tons and tons of archival footage that NASA gives you. They film everything. So from every one of his missions, there was, maybe 30 hours of footage that I would have to go through and find the snippets of Rich. So it was a lot of time spent in post-production kind of working with NASA to get the clips that I needed, and then getting them transferred because they're all set in Beta SP. And so that was what a significant time was.
And this is a NASA-approved project, yes?
Yeah, sure, yeah. We interviewed Bob Cabana, who is the head of the Kennedy Space Center. We've interviewed maybe 6 or 7 other astronauts who have been on missions with Rich. And all of them, they all speak positively about NASA's decision to allow Rich to fly. And it's one of the main things that we like to say is that, NASA didn't put up a fight when Rich said he wanted to go on another mission, because they spent a ton of money training these astronauts to go into space. And to, find another astronaut, train them, and get them ready for a spacewalk is going to be way more money and it's way more tax dollars. So they decided that at the point that he was at, was fine to go up into space. And so that's kind of the overwhelming opinions that we've gotten from all the astronauts that we've interviewed.
Gotcha. Well, you can't, or me, at least me, you can't help but have an overwhelming pride of being American when you see the space shuttle launch, especially for the last time.
Yeah.
It's an incredible thing. I always like to mention in the Q&As here about something that people may or may not know about, but here in Houston, we have a very unique thing every Friday at Johnson Space Center. They have a thing called Lunch with an Astronaut. And so anyone can pay, I think it's between $40 and $50, but you can go there and have lunch with an astronaut. He speaks to the group, and then you break off and have lunch, and then the astronaut comes and visits each table so people can ask questions about what it's like to go to space, which is pretty incredible. Pretty unique thing to have here in Houston as well. So if you want to have lunch with an astronaut, you can do that too. So,
Yeah, they're cool guys. Yeah.
They are.
And gals.
And gals. Okay, thank you so much. Brandon, you are an amazing artist, incredible stuff. This project, the music video, even how short it is, took over 300 hours to make? Or?
Yeah, that's just a guesstimation, because it was just nights and weekends to put it together, but it was over the course of about 4 months and just 20 to 40 hours a week of just tedious little paperwork. Yeah.
Gotcha. When did you find that you had this artistic ability for that? Because it's very unique and it's amazing.
Well, I guess working with actual paper for animation, especially making little 3-dimensional buildings and things like that, it's very counterintuitive, because paper is probably the most flimsy material you can use out there. So structurally, it's a tough thing to work with, but there's something that's really kind of childlike there's like this childlike innocence quality about it. So I find it kind of interesting to contrast that with subject matter that you wouldn't expect for something that gives you that sort of, emotional, aesthetic feeling. So.
Gotcha. It's amazing. Now, what other types of projects have you done with your craft? Paper.
Well, I work within a bunch of different animation styles, but with the particular paper style, of course I've done commercial projects to feed the family and make a living, but also there was a series I used to do where I animated people's jokes, and it was done completely with construction paper, and they would send me a joke in, and it was kind of like an ongoing web series.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, so
That's very good.
that was fun.
Can I send you a joke?
I don't do that anymore.
You don't do that anymore. Gotcha. I think they make a book. They make candles. It's called. I think it's called Old Book Smell or something. Is that your favorite smell? A library or old books or something?
Yeah, I have that cologne, and then also
That's right.
Rusty Scissors is a pretty good one too.
Rusty Scissors.
Oh, Elmer's Glue. There you go.
Elmer's Glue. Gotcha. Okay, so do we have any questions from the audience?